sorry, your name is?
My name's Ed. I'm the brewery manager at Troegs Brewery.
That's great. And great turnout for your beer tonight.
Yeah.
Hopefully you're satisfied.
Never disappointed at Andy's Corner Bar. Never, ever.
That's great. Tell me about the Scratch Series.
Sure. The Scratch Series started for our 10th anniversary. For our 10th anniversary, we threw a party and we decided we were going to make a couple special beers for it, and we named the series Scratch. And when our 10th anniversary happened, we had 5 beers available. And since then, we've been numbering them, and this year we're up to number 88. So
88?
88.
Now, at the Scratch Series, how many of the 88 have actually gone into production?
Well, Flying Mouflon was one of the original beers.
Which I have to stop you and remind everyone that was a gold medal winning beer at the GABF.
It was, absolutely. That was Scratch number 4 was Flying Mouflon. Perpetual IPA essentially came out. We made, oh my gosh, I think we made 7 IPAs in a row. And each of those were really testing hops to create the beer that became Perpetual IPA. Mad Elf sort of before Scratch beer.
Right.
Those two immediately come to mind, but there are others that have been either inspired by or created because of another beer that we did in the Scratch series.
How do you determine what beers you actually put into the Scratch series? Is it something like the brewmaster sits around and says, wait a minute, we've got new hop like Citra, and now we want to try it?
There's a couple different ways we do it. We could be, if we get new ingredients in, we want to check out a barley or a hop. You know, we might get a single variety hop. We might make a beer around that hop to try the single varietal. Sometimes there might be a new brewing technique we want to do. There could be a time that we might want to look at a yeast we're playing with, and we might do a batch of, say, like for our Pilsner this year, we might be testing 3 batches of lager yeast to determine what we're going to use. And it's a lot easier to do it in 15 barrels. You know, you get 25 half kegs. It's a lot easier to do it in that small volume than doing 100 barrels or 200 half kegs in one shot.
Now, Troegs do its own propagation.
We use all commercially available yeast strains. We have a house ale yeast, a house lager yeast, Dreamweaver has its own yeast, and Mad Elf has its own yeast. But we do have a full propagation system, so we might get in a single slide of a yeast cell and propagate up to about 600 gallons to fill yeast for one 300 barrel tank.
Okay. The new brewery. Just went online with that, what, about 3 months ago?
No, it's over a year now, actually. October 2011. So this will be 2 years this October.
It took your volume in terms of brewing from what to what?
The Harrisburg, at its largest size, I'd say our capacity is probably right around 38,000 barrels could be our maximum capacity. The last year in Harrisburg, we did 32,000 barrels of beer. With the configuration of new tanks in the brewery in Hershey, our capacity is probably up around 60,000 barrels. This year we did 43,000 barrels. So we have some room for capacity. We're also putting in a few new tanks this year as well. And ultimately, though, we'll probably keep looking. Tanks are tough. Tanks you got to keep. You always have to something empty you can fill into. So a couple extra tanks never hurts. So we'll constantly be playing with our tanks a little bit to keep ahead of our capacity.
I've been to Harrisburg, and I've been to Artie Troegs' place, and he's got fermenters that are probably about, I think it's either 100 or 200 barrels. What size are your fermenters?
We have 6 300 barrel fermenters, and we have 26 100 barrel fermenters. And we're putting in 4 more 300 barrel tanks this year.
Go back to Flying Mouflon. You talked about it. It probably exceeded your expectations, or did you really see it as a gold medal winner?
It's always cool when you win an award for something. You know, that beer was sort of the joke amongst us was we made Hopback, and Nugget Nectar we said was like taking Hopback and jacking it up, and then we joked that Flying Mouflon was the equivalent of taking Nugget Nectar and pushing it off the side of a mountain. So I think John and Chris both had a really good idea of the kind of beer they wanted to make. They had a really good idea for what they were looking for flavor-wise. And I think really what makes that beer stand out is when it's really fresh, it's really green and hoppy, but if you let that beer sit for 6 or 8 months, it becomes super malty, the hops die off a little bit, and it almost creates a second beer in the bottle just by aging it. Personally, I'm a big fan of Flying Mouflon, green and hoppy myself, but I know people love barley wines that are super malty and sweet and raisiny, and all those flavors really come out as that beer ages.
You know, it's funny you mention that. The first time I had Flying Mouflon, I had it 3 different times. First I had it in the bottle when it first came out, and I wasn't thrilled with it. I wasn't enamored with it. It was good, but I didn't think it was great. Went to the GABF, had it then there after it won the medal, and said, wait a minute, I need to go back and rethink this, buy more of it, and let's see what happens if we lay it down. Laid it down for an entire year. I have a beer tasting every year between, I probably shouldn't say this on camera, between Christmas and New Year's every year, and I invite people that are here, brewers I know, etc. And we came back
in. That's what happens to their business.
Yeah, exactly. And we just store it all up and it sits somewhere. So a year later, we opened a bottle of it, and it was a totally different profile.
Yeah, it is. And it's a really, really complex, funky, raisiny, there's a lot of body still in that beer, it's still shining out, and the hops are still there, but you miss what falls away is that super green nose, like that really, really fresh hoppy smell.
Obviously the big thing in brewing today, everybody wants something in wood, everybody wants something in barrels, everybody wants to talk about sours and inoculation of Brett, all that's going on. Where is Troegs right now in terms of looking at barrelage? Where are they in terms of looking at sour beers?
Well, we probably own about 80 barrels now, and we have a variety of unused, like brand new oak barrels. We have wine barrels. We've had bourbon barrels in. Barrel aging programs are kind of a challenge. I mean, you look at them in 2 ways. Either you're selling it, you're bottling a lot of it, and you're selling it so all states can get it, or you're making it to sell only out of our brewery. And we don't have a size capability yet to really explode our barrel program. But we do have some plans to keep it growing. We actually just packaged a beer this week, and that's the bottle condition, and we'll probably be about 4 to 6 weeks out, which will be our first barrel beer in probably 2 years. So we're excited for that, but we're also hoping that we can keep looking at that barrel program and look at ways to speed it up, make more beers available, and try to have a couple beers a year that are coming out in like a 750 cage and cork package.
What's the name of the beer, and when can we, you say 4 to 6 weeks out, can we look for it on the shelf, and what's the name of the beer?
I'm not divulging that information. It is a Belgian triple. We've made it before. And it's only going to be available at the brewery out of Hershey.
Whoa, okay. So if I want it, I've got to travel.
You do have to travel.
Okay.
But we're making a lot of it. I think we packaged 1,400 bottles. So, but over time, I think we really do have a goal to be able to make it up so we can ship it to our wholesalers and we can distribute it through our entire distribution area.
What about the range in terms of sour beers? Are you looking at doing anything, how can I put it, funky?
With the barrel beers?
No. Any of your beers. Are you looking at doing any more Belgian styles that would be considered something in the vein of, say, Rodenbach or something of that nature?
Something a little more in the sour range?
Yeah.
I think this has been an interesting year for us. We opened a new brewery until we got everything up and running. It took a lot of time. We are still dealing with catching up. Not catching up's not the right word, but we're still dealing with a demand. We're having a lot of growth in our current markets, and I think we have a lot of new things in the horizon that we want to work into what we're doing. But some of it's going to take some time with other projects we have going on in the brewery.
Interesting you say that. We've seen a number of breweries now expand their market, or certainly trying to expand their market. New Belgium, Sierra Nevada coming east and building breweries. what is the range of your market currently? And in other words, how far away can I get your beer?
Currently, we sell beer in 8 states. So we're in Pennsylvania. Everything that geographically touches Pennsylvania, with the exception of West Virginia and Massachusetts, is our current market. And we haven't opened a new market in almost 5 years.
If you can, talk to me about why that is. Is it a matter of, have you made a conscious decision, like I know Dogfish Head and a couple of others made a conscious decision to say, no, we don't want to go too far because we can't control the quality of our beer if we have to ship it too far. And we're concerned about what the product is going to be once it gets to the consumer.
Sure. I mean, our mindset has always been deep in your local market. In our home market, 4 counties, we still grew double digits after 17 years this year. So we don't see a lot of reason to sell beer anyplace else if we're selling that much in our local market.
That's incredible. Because I think of your local market. I think back 15 years in time when was it Guy Hedner? Am I getting that right? At Franconia.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it didn't work out very well. So it's interesting that you're in that same structured market, and yet what you just said is you're growing at double digits, even this late in the game. That's incredible.
Yeah, we're psyched. We're definitely psyched by it, and even like in the Philadelphia market, we're putting more sales reps into a current market than expanding new states.
That's tremendous.
We do have some goals and aspirations to open up a few new markets in the upcoming years, but we want to make sure that we're not interrupting anything we're doing with our current customers. And that's if we keep growing double digits in our home market, I don't see any reason to open up any market.
Why mess around with success?
Yeah, as long as I come to Andy's every year, it's good. Cheers.
Very well put. Cheers. Well, there you go. There's an example of what's happening in Pennsylvania. Troegs is doing a knockout job in terms of the beers that they have. Get out there, get to your local bar, wherever you can find Troegs. Get to the Scratch Series. They're always an interesting beer. And the next, when we see Flying Mufon out again?
Flying Mufon this year, I think we're planning an April release. I think it might be draft only this year.
Oh, really?
I think so. We're just having a lot of, not capacity issues, but we're in the midst of getting a new bottling line, and it's falling right when Mufon would be packaged. So we're just going to have to deal with it. Kegs only this year, probably get back into bottle rotation next year.
Med Elf.
Yes.
You have it out there. It's been out there a long time. We came out a few years ago with a naked Med Elf, if I remember the correct name for it. Are you going to play that game again? Are you going to vary Med Elf from time to time? And have you? I guess. Well, all right. Answer that first, and I'll come back to the next question.
We kind of like the Mad Elf is what the Mad Elf is. Naked Elf is kind of a joke that came into being. I don't know. We don't really want to overplay it. We like it for what it is. It's a beer that people look forward to. It's a beer that ironically has sort of transcended the idea of the beer geek, that it's not like the hardcore beer drinker who's looking for that beer. It's reached a market of people who don't even drink beer who look for that beer, and that's okay. So I don't think we have a strong desire to spend a lot of time like reinventing something that's really good to begin with.
That's very interesting. Has the recipe for Man Elf changed over the years?
Has the recipe?
Yeah, has Man Elf changed its flavor profile at all over the years? It seems to me like it has, but maybe I'm just...
Well, the recipe has always been, the same pretty much since we automated in 2008, we automated our brew house in Harrisburg. And really from that point forward, the recipe has not changed to any large degree other than increasing the volume of it to make 100 barrels at a time as opposed to 25 barrels at a time. Obviously barley's harvested at different times of the year, different flavors. Hops, not really in Mad Elf, not that much of an issue. But the cherries, sweet and tart cherries are harvested every year. They're coming out of the Pacific Northwest. There's flavor variance there. If anything has really happened to that beer as far as its overall taste, in my opinion, it's gotten cleaner and better. Like, funkiness has been washed away by a really nice, as drinkable as an 11% beer can be. It's a drinkable 11% beer. And I have to say, this year personally, I think I personally bought more Mad Elf than I've ever bought before because I was enjoying it. I was sharing it with friends because I thought this year was exquisite.
Well, okay, you mentioned that. In your mind, is Mad Elf a beer that can be laid down 11%? Is it something I should be enjoying right now? Or is it something that I can tuck away maybe a year or two down the road?
It's definitely good. It's definitely good in a year. I mean, we've had some bars that have kept it for 2 years and 3 years. The consensus seems to be that anything past 2 years starts going south. But I think there's something about it, you know, again, right when it's packaged, there's something about it that's really desirable in that initial offering. But I mean, I know I'll probably keep 2 6-packs in my fridge until the middle of summer, so you know, to each their own. It's really that kind of beer. If you're into aging, age it. If you're not, drink it.
Let's close with this. Your most recent beer, I believe, that you put out on the street was Perpetual IPA.
Correct.
Talk a little bit about the content, what the nature of the hops are, the IBUs, the barley that you're using. What am I getting when I taste the Perpetual?
Should I make that up?
No, well, I don't know. Do you want to make it up?
I couldn't. I'm sorry. I really have to apologize. I can't tell you what the hops are off the top of my head.
Okay.
I can tell you though, Perpetual IPA. We really did a lot of different blendings of hops to try and find a unique flavor that we wanted for that beer. I think we've really done a nice job of finding a nice grassy flavor that gives a nice piney taste to it, and also some of that mango rotten fruit taste that really works well together. We do dry hop that beer a lot. We've actually put this piece of engineering inside our fermenters. We call it the Hop Cyclone, and it's actually a way to best circulate the pelletized hops through the whole tank. So you pump it into the tank, it flows through this device, and it creates a really, really nice circulation system to dry hop the beer. And it's been a huge deal. We did it in one tank. We put one in one tank to see if it worked, and the results were so incredible that we installed them in all 6 of our 300-barrel fermenters. And I mean, it's really becoming the keynote flavor for Perpetual, and Nugget Nectar this year as well is screaming about that dry hopping.
Well, that's going to be one of my, that'll probably be my closing beer of the night here.
Cool.
Because we've got through those hops and don't want to blow out the taste buds until the end.
I'm with you, man.
Thanks
Cheers.
a lot. Appreciate your
Great
time.
talking to you. Cheers, man.
Have a great one. Thanks so much. Well done.